And you guys, so we are currently not in transformation form anymore. We don't have our a, h, and k values. We are in our standard rational function format. So it's going to be a little different when we find asymptotes when we are in this format. So be careful. Okay, so our steps, we're going to factor our numerator and denominator. We're going back to that, standard rational form. We have to do all that factoring stuff. So I know you guys have been missing out on all that factoring. So we're going back to our factoring mode. Okay, so we'll be factoring our numerator and denominator, and then, kind of like I explained in the video, the way we find our vertical asymptotes, we set every single factor in our denominator equal to 0, and to find the zeros, we set every single factor in the numerator equal to 0 and solve for x. So really, you guys, after you factor this thing, it's actually not too bad. So let's get started. Alright, so let's look at example 6. Alright, we have f of x equals x squared minus 2x minus 3 over x minus 2. So the first step is to factor all of our numerators and the denominators, which the only thing I can factor at this point is my numerator because we're above degree 1. In my denominator, the highest exponent I see is a 1. There's secretly a 1 hanging out here, even though we can't see it. Okay, and I can't factor something that's a degree 1. Okay, so we got to factor this numerator, which if I have 3 terms and a quadratic, the way we factor is slide and divide. So again, if you guys already know how to slide and divide, go ahead and do that on your own. There's no point in watching me do it. But if you don't remember, go ahead and follow along. Okay, so for slide and divide, we're going to factor our x squared minus 2x minus 3, which there's a 1 in the front. So I'm going to slide the 1 to the negative 3, and I get my negative 3. So we're going to find two numbers that multiply to be AC, which is our slide. Okay, and then we want to find two numbers that add to be B, which our B is this negative 2. So, two numbers that multiply to be negative 3 and add to be negative 2. Holy hot dog, you guys are so smart. It is negative 3 and positive 1. Alright, and then all we do is we put these things into a parenthesis since they are factors. So we're going to have x minus 3 since it's a negative 3, and it's a positive 1 here, so we'll have x plus 1. And then don't forget, you guys, we slide a, and then we divide by a. So our a value is 1, so technically I'll be dividing these by 1, but anything divided by 1 is itself, so really when I divide by 1, it doesn't change anything. Negative 3 divided by 1 is still a negative 3, and 1 divided by 1 is still 1. So yay, we have successfully factored our numerator. Yay! So I'm going to rewrite our fraction with our factored numerator. So we have x minus 3 and x plus 1. Alright, and then our denominator, we still have our x minus 2. Okay, so down here, Alright, we still have our x minus 2. Alright, so the hardest thing, you guys, is the factoring part. After that, you just set things equal to 0, and then you're done. So for our vertical asymptote, vertical asymptotes occur where things are undefined, which the only part of our fraction that could give us problems is this denominator. The denominator, remember, cannot equal to 0, and that's because there's an asymptote there. So for our vertical asymptotes, we set our denominator equal to 0, and then solve for x, and then we're done. Alright, so the way I move negative 2 to the other side is by adding that thing on both sides, which negative 2 plus 2 cancels and turns to 0. 0 plus 2 is 2, so my vertical asymptote is that x equals 2. Holy hot dog. And that's it for your vertical asymptotes. And then the zeros, you set every single factor in the numerator equal to 0 and solve. And then you're done. So I have two factors in my numerator. I have x minus 3, so I'm going to set that thing equal to 0. And I have x plus 1, and I'm going to set that thing equal to 0. And after this, you guys are donezo with our vertical asymptotes and zeros. So the way I bring negative 3 to the other side is by adding that thing on both sides, which negative 3 plus 3 cancels and turns to 0, and 0 plus 3 is 3. So one of my zeros is at x equals 3, and the other one I'm going to subtract 1 on both sides, 1 minus 1 cancels out and turns to 0, and 0 minus 1 is negative 1. So my other 0 is at x equals negative 1. So yay, so these are the points where the graph will smack the x-axis, and this is where there'll be a vertical line that hits the x-axis at 2, which in the Prezi you'll see a lovely picture of the graph. Wasn't that fun times, you guys?